You ever notice how easy it is to disappear in this world? You blend in without even trying. You walk the same way everyone walks, you talk the same way everyone talks, and you live the same routine every single day. You don't even realize it, but you've slowly allowed comfort to wrap around you like a blanket until you're no longer a person people see. You're just background noise. And you wonder why nobody pays attention. You wonder why nobody respects you. You wonder why you go unnoticed, unheard, and unvalued. But the truth hits harder when you admit it to yourself. You chose this. You built this invisible version of yourself with every easy decision you made. Think about every moment you avoided discomfort. Every time you woke up and hit snooze. Every time you told yourself, tomorrow. Every time you stayed quiet when you should have spoken. Every time you sat down when you should have risen. Every time you chased pleasure instead of purpose. Multiply those moments, stack them day after day, and you will see exactly why you are where you are. Comfort didn't just slow you down, it erased you. It made you blend into the crowd of men who all look the same, act the same, and fail the same. People don't ignore you because you're unlucky. They ignore you because there's nothing about you that disrupts their world. Nothing about you says, pay attention. Nothing about you feels rare. And that's the deepest pain a man can feel, knowing he has more inside him, but choosing the path that makes sure nobody ever sees it. The world doesn't hate you. The world is simply busy. People only notice what demands to be noticed, and right now you're too soft, too quiet, too comfortable to create any sort of impact. Look around. Everyone is choosing comfort. Everyone is choosing ease. Everyone is choosing the path of least resistance. You think you're alone? No, you're surrounded by millions of men doing the exact same thing you're doing, waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for their life to magically transform. And while you're waiting, you're fading. But the moment you decide you're done with that softness, that's when you start becoming visible. That's when you step out of the fog of mediocrity and start building someone people can't ignore, because growth isn't found in the warm, safe places. Growth is found in pain, in pressure, in deadlines, in failure, in tired mornings, in long nights, in frustration, in sacrifice. Men who choose these things rise above the noise because most people are terrified of them. You want to stand out in a world full of average. Do the things average people refuse to do. Walk into discomfort like it's your home. Push through the moments that everyone else escapes from. When your phone pulls you toward distraction, pull yourself toward discipline. When your mind begs for rest, give it responsibility. When your emotions try to weaken you, strengthen your actions instead. You become visible the moment you become uncommon. You become noticed the moment you start moving with purpose. And the beautiful part, you don't even have to talk about it. You don't have to announce your transformation. People will feel it. They will sense the shift in your energy, your posture, your tone, your confidence, your consistency. They will see something in you that demands their attention without you asking for it. But it all begins with that single choice: to stop letting comfort dictate the direction of your life. Because the truth is, simple comfort makes you invisible, but discipline makes you unforgettable. You need to understand something about the world. If you ever want to rise above it, nobody cares that you exist. Nobody rewards you for just being here. Nobody looks at you and thinks, wow, he's breathing, let me give him an opportunity. That's not how reality works. Presence means nothing without value. People pass by thousands of faces every week and remember none of them. Why? Because most men offer nothing. They carry no weight. They create no impact. They simply occupy space, waiting for life to notice them. It never will you think the world is unfair because it doesn't acknowledge your existence, but you're misunderstanding the entire game. The world acknowledges value, not presence. The world respects the man who solves problems, not the man who creates noise. If you walk into a room and nobody turns their head, it's not because people are blind. It's because you haven't built anything inside yourself worth looking at. You haven't earned that gravity, that aura, that unmistakable pull that valuable people carry with them effortlessly. Look around at the men the world pays attention to. They don't have to ask for respect. They don't chase recognition. Their value forces recognition. Their competence demands attention. Their confidence is built from results, not words. And that's why the world rewards them without hesitation. When you have value, people want to be around you. They want to learn from you. They want to associate with you. They want to follow you. When you don't, you become another blurry figure lost in the crowd of forgettable faces. It's harsh, but it's honest. Presence without value is just noise. You can speak, but nobody listens. You can work, but nobody notices. You can try, but nobody cares. People are too busy navigating their own lives to pay attention to someone who doesn't bring something meaningful to the table. And that's why so many men feel invisible. They're waiting for appreciation instead of creating value worthy of appreciation. When you start focusing on becoming skilled, disciplined, sharp, reliable, and strong, things shift. People can sense value. They can feel it before you even open your mouth. Your posture changes. Your tone changes. Your decision-making changes. You begin moving like someone who knows exactly where he's going. And that's when the world begins to take you seriously. Not because you demanded it, but because your value is undeniable. Think about the last time you met someone truly exceptional. Maybe it was the way he spoke. Maybe it was the way he carried himself. Maybe it was his clarity, his confidence, his certainty. Something about him made you pay attention without him asking. That's the effect value has. It enters the room before the person does. People who operate at that level don't worry about visibility. They don't worry about respect. They don't worry about validation. They focus entirely on producing results that make all of those things automatic. Imagine you become that kind of man. Imagine you walk into a space and people instinctively know you're not average. You don't need to explain anything. You don't need to impress anyone. Your character speaks for you. Your discipline speaks for you. Your achievements speak for you. That's what being high value looks like. Your reputation becomes louder than your presence, and your presence starts speaking before you do, but it doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you build yourself with intention, when you focus on skills instead of entertainment, when you value your time more than your comfort, when you maintain standards even when nobody is watching. The world rewards men who build themselves, men who commit to excellence, men who deliver consistently. The world has no choice but to notice value because value is rare, and anything rare becomes impossible to ignore. You want the world to care about you? Become someone the world benefits from. Become someone whose existence solves problems. Become someone whose presence raises the standard of everyone around him. Become someone whose value is so high it speaks louder than any introduction ever could. You want to understand the fastest way to stop being invisible. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not some magic moment where everything suddenly falls into place. The fastest, most direct, most reliable way to become visible is discipline. Not the kind of discipline you pretend to have for 3 days and then quit. I'm talking about the kind of discipline that turns you into a machine, a force of nature, someone whose actions are so consistent that people have no choice but to pay attention. Most men can talk a big game. They can hype themselves up. They can announce their goals. They can say they're starting tomorrow or trying their best. But when it comes to discipline, real discipline, they collapse. They fold under pressure. They disappear the moment it's uncomfortable. And that's exactly why they remain invisible. Because discipline is the only thing separating the people who get noticed from the people who get ignored. Anyone can be motivated for a day. Discipline is what separates the strong from the soft. Think about every person you admire, every person who inspires you, every person whose life looks impressive from the outside. They aren't special because they were born with something you don't have. They're special because they built habits that most people will never build. They showed up on days when everyone else stayed in bed. They worked when others rested. They focused when others got distracted. They were disciplined long before they were successful. And that discipline created the visibility, the respect, the power, the presence you see today. You don't become visible by accident. You don't stand out by coincidence. You stand out when your routine becomes something people can't replicate, when your consistency becomes intimidating, when your effort becomes noticeable. You know why discipline makes you visible? Because it's rare. Almost nobody has it. People notice what's rare. When you wake up early every morning and grind, people notice. When you choose the gym instead of the couch, people notice. When you build a skill day after day, people notice. When you stay committed, even when you're tired, bored, stressed, or discouraged, People notice. They may not say anything, but they're watching. Discipline gives you a presence that speaks without words. It changes the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you look people in the eye. It builds a silent confidence that doesn't need validation. You start carrying yourself differently, not because you're pretending, but because you know the truth about yourself. You don't quit, you don't fold, you don't break, you show up. And that alone puts you ahead of 90% of men. When you're disciplined, your results begin to pile up. Small wins stack into big wins. Big wins create momentum. Momentum creates belief, and belief creates identity. You stop trying to be disciplined, and you start becoming a disciplined person. That's when the world begins to take you seriously. You're no longer someone who makes promises. You're someone who fulfills them. You're no longer someone who starts. You're someone who finishes. And that makes you a threat in the best possible way. People crave direction. They crave examples. They crave proof that greatness is possible. When you show up with discipline, you become that example. You become the person people study quietly, even if they never admit it. You become the person others look to when they need strength. You become the person whose presence means something. Discipline builds a reputation long before success arrives. You don't have to brag. You don't have to announce your grind. People will feel it. They'll see it in your actions, in your results, in your consistency. And the beautiful thing about discipline is this: it requires no permission, no talent, no perfect circumstances. It demands only one thing: your decision. Discipline is the one tool every man has access to, yet almost nobody uses. That's why the ones who do instantly move ahead. That's why the disciplined man becomes visible, respected, and trusted. Because while the world is drowning in excuses, the disciplined man is building something real. You want to know the real difference between the men who rise and the men who remain stuck at the bottom. It's not luck. It's not who their parents were. It's not where they were born. The real difference is that high-value men build the skills the world is starving for, while everyone else avoids them like they're a burden. The truth is simple: average men chase fun, while exceptional men chase skill. And that single decision determines everything about the life you end up living. Most people don't fail because they're stupid. They fail because they avoid difficult skills. They avoid learning things that require patience. They avoid practicing things that require discipline. They avoid developing abilities that take time to master. They want the reward without the grind, the respect without the competence, the results without the repetition. And that's exactly why they stay invisible. In a world full of men who want shortcuts, skill is the ultimate separator. Look around you. How many men actually know how to communicate clearly, confidently, and with authority? Very few. How many men can stay calm under pressure instead of falling apart emotionally? Almost none. How many men can think critically, solve problems quickly, make decisions without hesitation? Rare. How many men can control their body, their habits, their impulses, their energy? Hardly anyone. These are the skills that make you high value. These are the skills that turn you from just another face in the crowd into someone people respect instantly. Think about it. When you meet someone who communicates well, you immediately listen. When someone speaks with clarity and certainty, their words hit differently. When someone keeps their emotions in check in situations where everyone else panics, you trust them. When someone knows how to make a decision and stand behind it, you follow them. Skills create the kind of presence you cannot fake. People can sense competence. They can feel capability. They can recognize discipline even before you say a word. When you start building the skills most men avoid, you separate yourself automatically. You don't need to announce your progress. You don't need to boast. Your abilities speak louder than your mouth ever could. You become the man who gets called when something goes wrong. The man others rely on. The man people look toward when leadership is needed. That's what value looks like. It's demonstrated through skill, not noise. But here's the part most people don't want to hear. Building high-value skills takes time. It takes hours of repetition when nobody is watching. It takes focusing when you'd rather relax. It takes studying when your friends are scrolling. It takes putting yourself in uncomfortable situations so you can grow. Skill requires sacrifice, and sacrifice is something most men don't want to endure. They want instant results. They want immediate validation. They want praise without paying the price. That's why they stay stuck. The man who chooses skill over comfort becomes dangerous in the best way. When you can communicate powerfully, you become persuasive. When you can stay calm in chaos, you become reliable. When you master your mind and body, you become unshakable. When you build financial intelligence, you become independent. The world respects the man who can do what others can't. And you only get there by committing to the skills that require more from you than you feel comfortable giving. High-value skills are the currency of influence. They turn you from ordinary to exceptional. They earn you opportunities without you having to chase them. They make people trust you, follow you, and seek your guidance. Skills create status. Skills create confidence. Skills create visibility. And once you build them, they become a part of you, something nobody can take away. When you choose to build skills that the 99% avoid, you step into the 1% automatically. You stop begging for respect and start commanding it. You stop blending in and start standing out. You stop waiting for someone to notice you and start becoming someone impossible to ignore. You ever wonder why some people rise effortlessly while others stay stuck at the exact same level their entire life? It's not always about talent or intelligence. Many times, it's simply the environment they choose to live in. Your environment is either building you or breaking you, elevating you or draining you, sharpening you or dulling you. And the crazy part is, most people don't even realize how deeply their surroundings are shaping their mind, their habits, their standards, and ultimately their future. When you spend time around people who think small, you start thinking small without even noticing. When you surround yourself with people who complain, you start complaining. When your circle is lazy, unmotivated, undisciplined, you slowly begin to mirror the same behavior. Not because you're weak, but because environment is stronger than willpower. The people around you are constantly influencing your mood, your thoughts, your actions, your ambitions. You pick up their fears, you pick up their excuses, you pick up their limitations, and before you know it, you become a reflection of the environment you tolerate. Most men stay invisible because they live in invisible environments, places where nobody pushes them, nobody challenges them, nobody demands growth. They surround themselves with people who accept mediocrity, and so mediocrity becomes normal. They live in circles where talking big is more common than acting big, where joking about failure is easier than doing something about it, where being average is celebrated and striving for more is seen as arrogance. You cannot become high value in a low value environment. It's impossible. Think about what happens when you place yourself around people who are disciplined, focused, ambitious. You start matching their energy. You start raising your standards. You start expecting more from yourself. Their presence alone forces you to level up. You see them working and something inside you refuses to be left behind. You watch them choose commitment over excuses, and suddenly your own excuses look pathetic. High-value environments pull greatness out of you without even trying. Just being around people who are moving forward makes it almost impossible for you to stay stagnant. Your environment is a mirror. It reflects who you are right now, and it predicts who you will become. If you want to know your future, look at the people you spend the most time with. If they aren't growing, neither will you. If they aren't learning, neither will you. If they aren't striving, neither will you. You cannot rise in a place designed to keep you small. You cannot grow in a garden filled with weeds. You cannot build a winner's mindset in a room full of quitters. Sometimes the hardest thing you'll ever do is leave people behind. Not because you stop caring about them, but because you start caring about yourself. You start caring about your potential, your dreams, your evolution. You realize you don't have time to stay stuck out of loyalty to people who don't even believe in themselves. Moving into a better environment doesn't mean you think you're better than others. It means you believe you're capable of becoming better than you were yesterday. Surround yourself with lifters, not limiters. People who inspire you, not drain you. People who push you, not distract you. People who are hungry, disciplined, and serious about their goals. When you're around winners, winning becomes the standard. When you're around strong men, weakness becomes uncomfortable. When you're around ambitious minds, laziness becomes unacceptable. You start transforming simply by exposure to higher expectations. Your environment is shaping your value every single day. The question is whether it's shaping you into someone powerful or someone forgettable. The world treats you based on how you treat yourself. And how you treat yourself is heavily influenced by who you surround yourself with. Change your environment, and you change the energy you carry. Change the energy you carry, and you change how people see you. Change how people see you, and you change the opportunities that come your way. When you choose the right environment, you don't just grow, you evolve. You step into a version of yourself you didn't even know existed. And once you experience the strength that comes from being surrounded by greatness, you will never again tolerate anything less. There comes a point in every man's life when he has to look at the mirror and admit something brutally honest. The person staring back is no longer enough. Not enough for the future he wants, not enough for the dreams he's chasing, not enough for the life he keeps imagining in his head. And that moment, that uncomfortable realization, is where reinvention begins. Most men run from it. High-value men run toward it, because reinvention isn't about pretending to be someone new. It's about finally becoming the version of yourself you should have been all along. People stay trapped in the same identity for years because they fear the judgment that comes with change. They worry about what their friends will say, what their family will think, what strangers might whisper. They cling to an outdated version of themselves because it feels familiar, even if it's destroying them. But the truth is, you can't build a new life with the mindset that built your old one. You can't step into greatness carrying the weight of who you used to be. Reinvention requires letting go. Letting go of old habits, old beliefs, old weaknesses, old excuses, old environments, old versions of yourself that no longer serve your future. Think about every powerful man you admire. None of them stayed the same. They didn't cling to their teenage mindset. They didn't hold onto their childhood identity. They evolved. They shed layers. They rebuilt themselves piece by piece. Reinvention isn't a one-time decision, it's a lifestyle. It's waking up every day and asking, how can I upgrade who I am? It's being brutally honest with your flaws, fearless with your actions, and relentless with your growth. Most people want change without transformation. They want results without reinvention. They want success while staying the same person who couldn't achieve it. But you cannot outrun your identity. If you want a bigger life, you need a bigger version of yourself. If you want higher level opportunities, you need higher level habits. If you want to be seen as a high value man, you need to operate like one long before the world notices. Reinvention requires humility. You have to admit you don't know everything. You have to admit your old patterns are holding you back. You have to admit the person you've been is not the person you need to become. That honesty hurts, but that pain is the doorway to evolution. Every time you reject your old excuses, you take a step forward. Every time you push through your old limitations, you build a stronger identity. Every time you replace a weak habit with a powerful one, you upgrade your entire life. The beauty of reinvention is that you become unpredictable in the best way. People who knew the old you won't understand the new you. They'll look confused because they can't place you in the box they built for you. And that's when you know you're growing, when the world can no longer define you based on your past. You become a man whose presence carries a different energy, a different confidence, a different standard. You don't need to announce your transformation. People feel it. They see it in the way you speak, move, decide, and work. Reinvention changes your aura before it changes your results, and the most powerful part, reinvention is under your control. You don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't need validation. You can wake up tomorrow and choose to break every pattern that's been holding your life hostage. You can choose to delete the old script and write a new one. You can choose new habits, new standards, new goals, new consistency, new discipline. You can choose to become the kind of man whose presence shifts the energy in every room he enters. Reinvention is the act of becoming unforgettable. Not to the world, but to yourself. It's the moment you stop living as a watered down version of your potential and start becoming the man your future needs you to be. It's the decision to rise above who you were yesterday, again and again, until the old you becomes unrecognizable, and now you understand it all. Every struggle you've carried, every silent battle you fought when nobody was watching, every moment where you wanted to quit but somehow kept going. This entire journey has been shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. Everything you learned in these keynotes isn't just information. It's a mirror showing you exactly who you can be when you finally stop negotiating with your weakness and start showing up for your own future. You've seen how mindset changes everything, how discipline rewires your destiny, how boundaries protect your energy, how consistency multiplies your power, how purpose stabilizes your path, and how self-respect transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. This isn't the end of a speech, it's the point where you choose who you become next. Because the world isn't waiting to reward you for what you intend to do. It responds only to what you actually do. And now the question sits in front of you, clear, direct, unavoidable. After everything you've learned, after everything you've survived, after everything you've realized, what are you going to do from this moment forward?